What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 33 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Imrik Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we are definitely beset on all sides, had 4 battles wherein we were defending ourselves against the onslaught of pretty much Norskins and Chaos at this point, at the very least in this portion of the map, culminating in a pretty fantastic battle around the fortified Karak and dealing with Wulfric and another full stack of his. And in fact, I think I forgot to chase these guys down, so we should really make sure that we do that. Actually, wait, you're not able to reach this, are you? No. I wanted to see whether we could get Morella in March stance up here, but it doesn't look like it's actually a possibility. Can't leech the XP, but oh well. Close victory will kill off all of these units, and I just don't think we need to fight them again. Yes, technically Mal's Darkblade is nearby, but I would wager he wouldn't be able to attack us in land or do anything anyway. So, we'll ransom the captives. And we won't fight that battle again. We got another relic sword. Didn't you already have a relic? Now you had a sword of striking, which we can hopefully turn into something a little bit more useful. Though, frankly, the High Elves have gotten, I think, the most out of all of the other campaigns I played. Just trying to think back. In terms of items, they have gotten a lot. And yeah, I don't think any other faction has quite managed to match up in comparison, so good for them. Anyway, we'll take Crackling Potency for the Archmage of Life here. She is incompetent, just like FEYADYIN is, but it seems like incompetent may actually be a surprisingly blessed trait. The only thing they're incompetent at is, you know, letting the enemy live. I think we'll pop into the Dwellers below here, just in case Malice attacks. I'm not entirely sure that we have enough mana to use it, but at the same time, his army's kind of trash, so it shouldn't be that great of a concern. Arathon, you were gonna head to Lyonesse. We are... Well, there is the concern that we could pick up a plague, but I'm not so sure that we can avoid it at this point, so... Yeah, you don't have a raiding stance, but you can go into Lilith's Blessing at the edge of our territory here, and then hit Lyonesse next turn. Architect Luara. Now, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to move because the Black Fortress, which has just reached Tier 5, has a few other things to build. Mainly, we want to max out the Greater Grove, as we do need additional capacity for... I believe it was... Well, actually, it's both Sisters of Avalorn and the Handmaidens. So yeah, it's quite a useful building, and frankly, we'll need more of them elsewhere as well. Etelnai, you were going to head to Altdorf, but I'm not sure that we want to go for Altdorf first, or whether we want to head over to Marienburg. I suppose the issue here is that there is a plague here already. We do actually want to keep Marienburg. The Altdorf and other nearby territories probably don't matter nearly as much. Nonetheless, since you're already here, maybe we hit Altdorf. And we can't see any other armies nearby. The other option would be to ignore this completely and just go for Grom the Paunch, but that's kind of what Tyrion is on the way to do anyway. So maybe it shouldn't be a big deal. Anyway, you are currently at war with Visenland, Tolzin, and Arguelon. Now, Arguelon is one of the factions that we're in defensive alliance with, but to be fair, I still kind of don't trust Durthu. Even if he's friendly with Visenland, could he possibly attack another one of our allies? Like the dwarfs, for example? He very much could. Durthu's a little bit of a maniac, so let's just stay with the defensive alliance and let's just regularly attack the Ever-Chosen, whose campaign has just concluded on the archive, and it was a fantastic campaign, definitely one of my favorites on the channel, and I think Archaon's campaign had the most community canon lords, as in he now holds the record of both the longest campaign in the sense of holding the record for the threshold and the number of community canon lords. So good job to Archaon. Not so much good job to him in this campaign, however, as he's going to get obliterated. Go. They are joined by, we were already at war with everybody here except the Cool, I think, so that's just fine. Free Altdorf for us, and it didn't even have defenders, so occupy. And we'll transfer it right back to the Imperials here. I am not sure that we actually want to waste money on repairing it or collecting the income here. Now, about Nuln. Is it this turn or next turn that we should be transferring it over? 155, damn. No, okay, it's not this turn that we have to transfer it. Wait, we are in a military alliance with Tolzin. We could try to trade Gristle Valley from these guys. It is where they have their maxed out barracks, however, but I guess they do have one in Fyldorf as well, so they're not gaining a crazy amount out of this place, and it's not actually collecting the income because of negative control, I guess. I was just thinking to take it from them or Nuln, and then make sure that this is all Wood Elf. It just always bothers me when the AI doesn't sort of trade stuff amongst itself, but anyway, we'll deal with it as we go. Architect Llewellyn, you're fine. Gwyndian, you were originally waiting for an army, but right now... I'm tempted to reset you. The thing is, even if we do get you an army going, it wouldn't be where you currently are. And there's nothing here that you would need to defend against. We kept you here in case somebody started to attack you, but I think we need to reset you. In terms of your points, you have Militia Master and Dangerous, Merchant, Lord, Bonded Service, all that sort of stuff. Oh, you have Elven Scholar as well. Frankly, we actually don't need to necessarily reset you. You know what, just keep him here for now. I'm not entirely sure what kind of army we would give him, and we still have to make use of materials at sea as well as the Invocation of Azorians, so until then we don't want to go overboard on the expenditure. You're still building Shadow Warriors, and that's just fine, and as it should be, but I believe since Larithiel was next, unless I missed... Nope, Admiral Larishian was next. Right. So you knocked out... Festus. We do care about Conquata, but we don't so much care about the Isle of Wights. I think we just sort of stick around here. We can't have Admiral Larishian take Conquata because it's too elite, and we need to send Erathond or somebody over there. We could have her take the Isle of Wights, but at the same time, I'm also not super sure it's necessary. These armies were, after all, created to patrol the seas, not to take settlements, so I think we'll just keep on doing that. And at the same time, keep searching for islands as well. Also, if more Norscan start sailing out here, we could intercept them, which is also a good use of that army. Frankly, we need a few more, but we'll see. Anyway, Larithiel. No, Larithiriel. I'm back to mispronouncing that one. You were supposed to kill off Savatril the Blackhearted, so try to chase him down. And see if you can do it. And then return to where you are. Oh, we're also supposed to ferry you the... He's gonna run too far, or... No, okay, good. Get rid of this guy. And... I don't know, just do this, it doesn't really matter. I'll resolve. Teensy bit of damage, and we'll take the ransom captives for the additional influence per turn, because it's always necessary. And hey, we even had a mission for that. Lovely. I guess Lilia's Blessing and then start moving back around this way. Yeah, we need to get you Shakalot the Calamity, that's your army. I guess we could have Rodar or somebody transfer it over. We could use Kalana for the same purpose. Because I really do want to keep Rodar near Imrik, because Imrik has a lot of movement range and a lot of places that he wants to actually make good use of it. But anyway, Imrik is not the one who's moving right now anyway, so we'll deal with him later. Architect Enai, you I think are supposed to be where you are. Yeah, when Drina, you... So you're supposed to transfer the Dryads over to these guys over here, but technically speaking, Alariel also has stuff that you need to transfer, so you can just wait for a little bit. Tyrion, you're gonna go after Grom the Paunch, but I'd like you to grab that Sea Corpse first, so go right beside the Sea Corpse, like so. Now, beside the Sea Corpse. Grab it next turn, and then land at Bordelot, and try not to get the Plague. Also should try to get Aquitaine from these guys, but anyway. And then try to go after Grom the Paunch. We need to knock out Massive Orcal and just not have him to be dealing with anymore. That was the least eloquent way I could have possibly said that. But anyway, Alistair, you are going to grab the Moot, not because we care about it, but just because it's on the way to various of the undead locations. And this is all going to go to our little human friends here. Alright, we should transfer the Maverheim as well. We can transfer it immediately, I guess. Not for money, just because we can. Let's wait until next turn. I'd still like to get as much money from them as possible if we can. At least until the point that we no longer need money, but we're not yet at that point, so when we reach it, then we will. Admiral Yavathol, you were supposed to be heading out to sea, but because Ikit Claw declared war on us in the last turn, we may not want to do that. Head here. We'll see about having you take Gronti Mingle, and maybe having Arwenel take Stormhenge, as well as Galbaraz, because we don't know, these could be full of Skaven armies, and these undefended territories, well, I don't like them undefended, so... In fact, out of curiosity, who is Ikit currently at war with? He's at war with the Cult of Sigmar, Tolzin, Carcassonne, and Astalia, so he does have some factions nearby that he is against, but as we know, anti-player bias means he'll probably turn towards us and ignore the other factions that he's at war with, because we have plenty of examples of the AI doing that at pretty much all times. Anyway, Architect Elena, you're good where you are. Morel, you are still guarding the coast, so head to Shrine of Kurnus for a bit. We'll head you up to Elysia, where you can hold the line there. For a while yet as well. The fact is, nobody's going to be able to take Shrine of Cain. Toranlek and Tordranel are in much more danger, but Shrine of Cain has just an obnoxious garrison with what we have there right now. Yeah, nobody's taking that. So anyway, that was Morel. Who's after Morel here? Ah, it was Alariel, alright. Alariel, I was originally going to send you to deal with the lizards, but it looks like you're actually going to have to go southward and deal with Morgur, although his defeat rate might actually be better on Tyrion than on you. On the other hand, Tyrion's going to be kind of busy with the Broken Axe for a bit, and probably with these guys as well. Alright, we're going to have to wait on it, Shuaddle. Mazda Monday, you get to live another day. You're going to head to Shrine of Loek. We still get the buff for being there? Or do we have to end the turn there? I don't remember. Oh wow, well, Ariel, you also have no mana. You could... we should still probably sail out, though. Her army isn't complete, but it's complete enough to actually fight, so I think that's fine. Also, the buff isn't anything crazy. I do like the +1 influence per turn, but, well, we have a lot of other sources of +1 influence right now, so I'd rather not waste the time, because Alariel's army is costing us 5.3k per turn as well. And every turn that it's not moving is a turn wasted. Lorna, stay here. We'll see what Malice does. The growers and influencers have either been moved or don't need to move any further. And Morella, one last thing for you. You're going to globally recruit some Lothern Seaguard. We will transfer them to an Admiral army as soon as we, well, actually have an Admiral army. I could also build some other stuff, but for now, just use what you got. You were going to build these guys anyway. Alright, and Lord not moved, Garrison Lord, unassigned skill points, hero not moved, building upgrade available, damaged building, outpost available, outpost upgrade available, end the turn. Well, let's see where else we get hit. I'm very curious, or most curious, about where Malice Darkblade goes, because we have no army readily available to intercept him, which is kind of an issue. You want us to join a war against the Pirates of Sartosa, which we will eventually do, but right now we're a little bit busy all over the place. And frankly, declaring more wars right now may not be the way to go. It does look like Malice is bypassing these territories to go south. That's not great. Once again, his army isn't particularly strong, so we should be able to deal with it. We may have to send Morella after him somehow. And I guess that means leaving this territory in... without a stack to defend it, but oh well. What can you do? Mine's muddled. I don't know who that was used on. Hopefully it wasn't you. Because this thing likes to be a liar and not actually tell you who it's muddling. But anyway, trait gain, Master Mason Creator, upkeep production, now that we have a tier 5, military advancements, and we can do it again. Art of Thilmar Steed, great. We can do it again because we have military advancements and can be followed by Oathwan's Glory. Another 2% reduction. We also have a lot of good stuff here now that we have tier 5. We have cultural advancements, we have extravagant murals, a lot of stuff that we've gotten access to. Now we just need a proper research rate to get, well, to get better use out of them. Anyway, Malice. I mean, his army really isn't anything crazy. I guess the question is, can the spears in March stance hold against him? The biggest problem here would be Malice himself. The thing is, I think we have to risk it because if we don't bring him down, he'll go after undefended territories. So Morella, head out to sea in march stance and try not to die. We'll see how he reacts to this. We will, however, give you a point. You have Fiery Convocation. We could actually get Arcane on Forging for Malice, but it's so expensive that it may not be worth our time. Absolute Control, Speed of Azorian, we could get Root Marcher. Well, you know what? If we have to give chase to him, we could probably make use of the additional march speed. So we'll make use of it. You have replenished troops. You're going to go into hard to hit because somebody's going to need to hold Malice back. Maybe he'll try to go for Blacklight Tower instead of us. It's a distinct possibility as well, and frankly, that's why we wanted one of these sort of buffers. Yes. Anyway, Belharathoi, I was going to send you down to Malice, but I guess we also want you to hit the Palace of Ruin, which, by the looks of it, you can't reach in one turn. Alright, you're going to go into Lilith's Blessing right beside the Palace of Ruin, and I guess, wait. We need Larian to follow you, or actually, do we? March stance Larian down south. We can have her move to defend Dargoth and stuff. What's at the Palace of Ruin? Yeah, it's not strong enough to deal with Belharathoi. Even if Belharathoi's army is still relatively weak. And ow! It was Dydraris that got muddled. Okay, that one we really don't care about. Alright. It's somewhat likely that Kotep besieges the Palace of Ruin. Or he might try to give chase to a Garl, it doesn't really matter. We do want to actually take this for ourselves, so we won't transfer, so we won't, wait. Glacial Gardens. Would you be willing to trade Karak for Glacial Gardens? Karak, Glacial Guard... Huh? Glacial Gardens isn't an option. Oh, that's not great. Because we need to... because it's not actually bordering... Well, that's really annoying. Actually, sort of is bordering Karak, but it's not an option, really. Because I guess this is impassable terrain, then? Yeah, it looks like it's impassable terrain, so the border doesn't count. I'm just going to double check that I didn't miss it. That's not here. That's so rude. Okay, well, what can you do? All right, let's start from the top. And as he's always on top, it's Imrik. King Sinsena. Ha, you're in range of Admiral Yavathul. That's interesting. We gotta get this guy destroyed anyway. And hey, Alhaik has fallen to Volki. That's fine. I don't really care about the additional territory here. With the exception of the Great Desert of Araby. I guess we're going to take the Pools of Despair then. So Rodar will have you occupied and Imrik reinforce. Haven armies are sailing out as well. Alright, Imrik, reinforce please, and... Okay. Thanks for the zoom out game. Completely necessary. Alright, you are... Nope. You are going to go into... a little bit closer in camp so that you have the bonus... like so. Bonus stats, and occupy. Then, Luckstone is out. You don't need that. You're just here to capture stuff. Scroll of Shielding, and then Imrik, you can go into March Stance and try to hit the Desert of Araby next turn. Hopefully there wasn't anybody nearby to kill off Rodar, but we'll see. Would this suffer attrition? No. Oh wait, Imrik is either immune to attrition or he has so many resistances to it that it makes no difference. Alright, Rodar, stay here. I guess we then have to use another character. We could maybe use Kelana for this. I was gonna say, we have to use another character to... Okay, you head to Stormhenge. We have to use another character... to do some stuff. To transfer some stuff. Oh, I also just realized that you are still holding that Athilmar chariot. Whoops. Alright, that's on me. I messed that one up. Kelana, take that from Arwenel, like so. Arwenel, destroy Stormhenge, obviously, with an auto-resolve because this is garbage. And occupy it. And I guess we're going to hold on to these territories. There is an elven colony here, and this is like the edge of the Badlands, which is what we want to hold. You will start with the plaza, I guess. Don't bother collecting the income for now. I also would like to double check whether we have the ability to build another fire rain rocket from the northern provinces. We are 1 allegiance short, though. Speaking of allegiance, northern provinces, ally missions. Ulmer, Lichberg, I guess you, because you're... Oh, for the love of it, switched. Ha, Ulmer, Lichberg is still available, though, so... Sucks to be you. You about to die to Arathond. And by the looks of the garbage nature of this particular garrison, Arathond can just kill you, no problem.
None shall live.
Yeah, decisive victory, low casualties. We may pick up the plague, but that's life. No, we have barely any damage. The game has learned. Game has learned what happens when jerks try to mess with Arathond. Arathond, leave the place, use the plague ship concept, and don't take damage. Vampire Slayer, Arathond's an everything slayer. And so are his eagles. There we go, ally mission successful. Coast of Lyonesse secured. Barrow Legion destroyed. Oh, I didn't even realize that was their last settlement. Fantastic. Tribute to the Phoenix King. I'm not sure that we're going to be keeping these places. More likely than not, we'll return all of them to Carcassonne, with the exception of the Great Port of Bordelot. We've completed the mission, but I think it'll take 2 turns to recruit. Let me double check here. Yeah, it takes 2 turns to recruit this. We could use Kalana to do it. Alright, Kalana, I guess you're gonna do it. Go here. Hold on to the Ithilmar Chariot to recruit from the northern provinces a second Fire Rain rocket. Northern provinces. Fire Rain rocket. For our Fire Army. Dragons, Phoenixes, Fire Rain rockets. Sounds like a good time. A good time was had by all, except those getting burned alive. But anyway, let's continue. FEYADYIN. Grimgor at Karak Azor. Now, I'm willing to bet that he'll be willing to sally out if we fight him here. FEYADYIN, you're gonna stay in the Laieth's Blessing. Can you win this fight? FEYADYIN can win any fight. It's Grimgor plus a solid garrison. But this is FEYADYIN we're talking about. It doesn't matter what the enemy brings. I guess we're going to take the banner of the World Dragon Puppet onto FEYADYIN herself and the Lion Standard on one of the lions. These guys are... Do they have immunity to psychology? They do... Oh, no, they have terror, so they are immune to psychology. You guys cause fear. You guys have nothing. Oh, alright, so we'll put it on one of you then. Alright, makes sense. Now, I'm willing to bet that Grimgor will sally out. He'd be mad not to. J address, you are gonna move here in case the enemy moved close, but it looks like Veritas Humongous did back off. That said, you can stick around here in the Demon Stump for now. Recruiter Zamdilla, I just realized something. We need to forego, I think, military advancements and instead grab this, the Caledorian tradition, because we need Star Dragons and Dragon Princes in higher numbers for Imrik. And next turn we'll be able to recruit more of them, so we'll do this. We're also about to power up a bunch of the dragons with the new dragon power-up techs. Also techless. Wait, so your Phoenixes are currently being recruited by Recruiter Zamdilla, but you for now can still move north, and we'll have Jaedrus maybe ferry them over to you. I think that's the way to do it. Alright, unfortunately that does mean that Disciple Oberman, your first disciple, is not caught up yet, but, well, he'll do it eventually. Game moving, sir. Alright, back to trying to do things in order because I completely lost the order. Recruiter Fern Harvest. You were supposed to transfer all of this stuff to Lerathiriel, who you can't reach right now, so go here. I suppose we could make use of global recruitment to get the Tyrannok chariots going, but they do take a lot of turns. If only we had another... Wait. Can you recruit... Do we have an Ithilmar Smith anywhere nearby? We don't have one here. Yeah, I think the closest to Ithilmar Smith is very, very far away here in Bitter Bay. It would be faster to just global recruit them. So, in that light, I would like you to go into encamp stance. Then transfer to Lerathiriel all of these Shadow Warriors. And Lerathiriel she can just fight with the Shadow Warriors. She doesn't need a full stack. She's gonna help out with Karak and stuff until we get her Shackle out the Calamity and more death stuff. Speaking of death stuff, Exiles of Nehek. Still on the fence because it's just taking so long to get the additional allegiance. Seems relatively unlikely that we can get another Hyro Titan, but I don't know. We should be able to reach 49 eventually. We just gotta keep an eye on getting missions from them. Not from Vissenland and Nuln. Although actually, we've reached 100 allegiance with Vissenland, and the thing that we can do with them is... Okay, wait. We can make use of the Outriders. Now, I know that they are using guns, which are, I don't know, an inelegant weapon, let's say, as far as the elves are concerned. However, these guys have suppression, and the Cold Army can combine that with the Chilling Aura to go for, what, minus 80% move speed, which is pretty significant. So I think we'd make use of it. So that's what you're going to do for us, Kalana. Anyway, that'll enable us to take another mission. And the mission that we will take... Where is Archie, by the way? He's hanging around here. Ooh, he's actually rather close by. Steinbeck. Also rather close by, probably headed to Nuln, having, by the looks of it, defeated Orion. Might have to move Atelnai back to deal with him, or allow them to take Grunberg, and then take it back so that we can transfer it. Actually be a decent choice. Alright, we'll accept the mission to fight Steinbeck, then. Also... Nuln for Gristle Valley. Will these guys do it? Actually, first of all, how much money did you give us for this? 3.5k. For Gristle Valley? It's a lot of money, but here's the thing. We're going to be taking all their money anyway, so we'll do this. For Gristle Valley. Like so. Once again, it wasn't collecting money for these guys anyway, so that wasn't going to be super useful for them. Then, we'll transfer them Averheim. For money. Huh, it's the same amount. But we just gave you 17k. Weird, but oh well. And they can have it anyway, and then we'll transfer them the Moot as well. Rebuilding their territories one, well, territory at a time. Alistar, you can't reach Templehof, so you will go to Schwarzhofen. And I guess Atelnai will move back to deal with those guys. But anyway, auto-resolve this. And occupy it. At least temporarily. I guess we could sack it, but I'm too lazy. Do that. And he's on a Star Dragon now. Blade of Belcorhadris. I think this is a new one, or at least one that we didn't have before. It's actually a decent weapon, or at least the buff is pretty decent, and it does enable magical attacks. It might actually be superior to the Blade of Leaping Gold. Permanent 10 melee attack versus magical attacks, which you don't have. Now, we could give him a Lichbone Pennant, which would counteract that. He already has Sundering attacks. Basically, vastly stronger for 45 seconds. A little bit of extra weapon strength. I'll think about it. Versus the Lichbone Pendant, we'll have to consider how many Lichbone Pendants we have and how many other lords need the magical attacks. Anyway, I assume these guys are going to go for Grunberg. Atelnai, you can take Ubersreich and move to take Grunberg if these guys take it, or Nuln if these guys take it as well. Just sort of hang around, we'll see. And occupy. Alright, hey, free banner of Eternal Flame, nice, nice. So we can build the whatever here, and Altdorf needs to be transferred to these guys. But they act, the damn Wood Elves are blocking us off. Yeah, so we'll trade them Gristle Valley for Grunberg if Grunberg doesn't fall. That's the way we'll do it. And I guess just build the animal. Huh. We actually don't have access to Tusks. Wait, whoa. Tusks give us a plus 30 research rate? Excuse me? I did not know that. Why did nobody tell me that? We have to keep this. Plus 30 research rate? Okay, we need more Tusks. Time to betray Goldtooth and take the Mountains of Morn. Where else are Tusks found? I know that there is some in Norska, but we weren't going to hold any territory there. I feel like there's a source of Tusks around here somewhere as well, but I don't remember where exactly. Oh, there's Tusks here, but we obviously can't have that. We might be able to trade it, but they do own a full territory. All right, I'll take a look around at another time because, yeah, I really didn't know there was 30% research rate. That's insane. Anyway, Gwyndian. Not you, wait, Admiral Larishian. Keep looking around for islands and heading off enemies. These guys are going to rebuild an army by the looks of it. Is there an island nearby here? No. I guess we haven't gone up here. We could also raid some territories, but it would take you, well, it would force you to take damage rather, which ain't such a great thing, as you don't have an easy way to heal. Admiral Astakar, you have arrived, and it was Fuchao that we wanted, and it looks like it still hasn't fallen to Nakai, which means we're going to move up here and see if once again we can sneakily take it. If we cannot, we'll try to take something else and then trade it for Fuchao, as it's just too nice to have all the great harbors. Alright, also, I lost my place again, damn it, every damn time. Stay in Eckendorf. Your mana is actually fine, even though you're losing a little bit. Did I forget somebody here? No, that was Astakar, good. Alrighty, Jayadress, you are stuck where you are. Tyrion, you were gonna grab the Sea Corpse. What? Oh, for the love of you, we're in March stance, my bad. Or in full speed stance. A little bit of a waste, but whatever. Okay. Loot the carcass, unresolved, and take the money. And perfect vigor for you. Nice. See location of interest. And okay, nothing like lost cargo, unfortunately. March stance. Move out of Bordelot or past Bordelot. And aha! Maybe Grommy would actually attack you here. Not that we care about the bonus relationship with other high elves, I suppose. Yeah, he's not going to attack you. His army's too weak. What's the likelihood he goes for Bordelot, though? It would be annoying if he went ahead, took Bordelot. Yeah, I shouldn't have moved you this far. Also, we're going to... I know that they're exalted, but we're going to get rid of these high elf rangers. They're not useful enough, and they're too fragile in this particular army. And I'd much rather have a second noble in this army. The buffs offered to the Silver Helms and Exalted Illyrian Reavers are more significant than what we get out of the single unit of Elven Rangers. Besides, the other Exalted units, these Exalted Archers, basic High Elven Archers, mind you, have 100 missile strength, twice as much as a unit of Gate Guard. They're pretty insane. So yeah, we're not getting rid of those is what I'm getting at. And of all the Exalted units, the Rangers were the only ones that were relatively useless. Yavathol, I was going to have you hit Gronti Mingol simply because... We go here. See what we got here. Nothing. We got nothing here. Fantastic. Standard of Discipline on you yourself. I'll resolve. Just gotta make sure that we uncover whether there are rats in our undefended Badlands territories. Most likely... I just realized, you know what? We're probably gonna need defenses here. Hopefully temporarily. But for now, certainly. Alright, who's after Yavathol? I'd like a proper fight. Yolanda, you're stuck where you are for now. Architect Elena, you are potentially stuck, depending on whether we have to build something somewhere, but that'll be part of the building. You are supposed to head to Elysia to potentially defend it, as it's a relatively undefended territory. We'll check diplomacy in a second, just in case these guys are willing to confederate as well. In fact, we'll do it right now.
I trust that you too are pledged to safeguard the West.
Do we still have the Confederation debuff going? I forget. Oh, 2 more turns. Darn, okay, fine. We'll have to wait then. While we're checking Diplo, let's check the rest of the Diplo. Ah, Cult of Sigmar. Oh! Wait, Al-Haik was their last territory? Wow, I did not realize that. Damn. Because Khemre is fighting them. Yeah, we'll try to help them out by giving them more territory. Let's go trade agreement and... Wait, let me just see here. How do the other allies feel about them? Yeah, the lizards like them. Lizards like them well enough. If they're at war with these guys, I think most of our allies like them well enough. Alright, fine, military alliance. And this. We don't really want to take their money, but we will. Plus, look at that trade agreement. Lovely. And that's up to 1,300, and every single one of our... not many options left for trade. Every single one of our remaining friends, or not remaining friends, elven embassies will increase that money further. Itza still no on the military access, eh? Bordelot Errant want defensive alliance now, sure. Wait, did I want a military? Oh, let's go military alliance. We're going to be fighting Heshwaddle anyway. I know they hate each other. Good. Might as well. Arguelon, no. You're out of all of the other factions, everybody else we're going to try to go for military alliance except Arguelon. I just have a bad experience, or several dozens of bad experiences with Durthu being a maniac and randomly attacking like the Empire and stuff like that. So let's not risk that. Hunts Marshal's Expedition, non-aggression pact, and money, sure. Well, or we could just do 3.2k. Wait, how do the lizards feel about you? Oh. Lizards don't like you. You know what, we'll just do the trade agreement for now. The lizards might not be super happy about it, but just in case they get into a fight. We will, however, take the cash. Alright. And nothing else. Everything else good, non-aggression pact. We are trading with the Jade Court, but they don't want to do any kind of alliances as yet. Very close to the defensive alliance with Cult of Sotek, though. Cult of Sotek. 3.6k, you know what, we made enough money just for... Hey, military alliance, go for it. We made enough money from other factions that we are free to ally with the Cult of Sotek, especially since there's a bunch of lizard units that we want. So, why not? Alright, and I believe that's it. Diplomacy working fairly decently now. Back to wherever we were in the order. I completely lost my place, but we have enough armies at this point that it's bound to get confusing periodically. Floppy Crookshank. We could declare war on him, but he'll run and we won't be able to do anything about it. So let's just go near him, and we'll see. If he remains close enough, we'll just have Alariel kill him, because she can, but otherwise, we're gonna land here and take some stuff. Recruiter Melinda, you're gonna get those Sisters of Avalorn for Alariel, and I'd like you to keep an eye. We do have more Skycutters available as well, which I want to put in a few places. Capacity? No new capacity. A shame. But what can you do? Oh, before I forget. You start recruiting some Turnok chariots. Alright, good. Because we don't have those anywhere, and they're missile chariots, and I'd like to see what kind of heights they can get up to. Where were we? Alariel, Teclis, Admiral, Hilalion. You were looking for... Okay, you got the islands here. You were supposed to next move this way and patrol the sea. I guess we could go around here just so that we can head off any of the... although there are islands to pick up here. Nah, you know what? You're gonna go for islands. We can come back, and we can probably build another admiral. Just gotta keep an eye out on lords. Vigilant, dashing, and energetic. Okay, not the ones we want for you. Alright, and... Oh, don't tell me you... Are you telling me you can't reach? Oh, yeah, you can. Okay, that's fine. Just gotta put a noble in here for the reductions. There we go. Well, not for the reductions, for the... I should still probably head towards Elven Scholar. Go for Wary. What was I saying? Oh, for replenished troops. That's what I was getting at before I interrupted myself and then confused myself, etc., etc. Who's up next? Lorna. Defender of Karant Kar. You're fine. Tech thieves. We got to thieve some techs. Oh man, we gotta find a battle. We're running out of time. We can't have an all-admin episode. Tech thief. 2, go to Dargoth, and these guys are building up an army, and we're probably going to need these guys to actually take this territory. Okay, you know what, influencers, let's move some of you while we're here. You're a failure of an influencer. What about you? You're supposed to head out this way while this influencer goes for the Palace of Ruin. Alright, success, good. You have stopped moving. Did I move you? The other tech thief? I already did. Alright, good. Who else still needs moving? And there's an influencer here. Got 3 more influencers. Alright. And this is why I don't particularly like agent spam, but, well, you gotta do what you gotta do. Keep bouncing around between these territories, please. Success, good. And I'll level them up and stuff between the episodes, because obviously... And success, good. Also keep an eye out on our influence, because if Eltharion doesn't want to confederate the old-fashioned way, we could confederate him via the court. If we don't use, or influence, whatever, if we don't use it to force a bunch of the Chaos factions to declare war on each other, which is also a distinct possibility, admittedly. Anyway, I believe that's good. Now we got building, and that has to be done, so it is what it is. Colonnade for you, because this place is supposed to generate as much money as possible. Good. Need to replace anything? You're still in growth because we want to reach tier 5 here, so that's going to stay the case. You're fine. Plain of Dogs, you are fine. Lothern is fine. Going to be a long time growing. Black Fortress, yes to the Blessed Grove, and yes to the Elven Fairground, and you know what? There's a lot of admin, and I'd like to get a battle going before we run out of time for this episode, so I'm going to do the admin for this particular turn off screen. I won't do it every time, but, you know, on occasion, so be right back. Alright, there we go. Building admin done, and what do we still have here? Siege equipment. Oh yeah, the well, let's hope that he sallies out and gives us the battle that we've been hankering for. Damage building outpost, whatever, we'll ignore all that, and then the turn, and cross our various appendages. Alright, where's Grimgor in the order? Yuan Bo, this is not the time, buddy. I love you, but this is not the time. Non-aggression pact. Now, Itza doesn't particularly like you, and neither does the Cult of Sotek. However, that's due to their or due to them not liking the Hunts Marshal's expedition, not so much due to anything else. That said, if they end up attacking the Hunts Marshal's expedition, you'll most likely be drawn into the fight as well, which is kind of concerning. You're also currently in the fight with Mazda. You know what, I'm going to say no for now. It's not like we're in a shortage of allies or anything, but, well, more Cathayan units would be good. Once again, I do love those war drums of theirs, and we can certainly mix a few more war drums into a few more armies, especially a few more armies that we may build in the future. Now, where the heck is Grimgor? Please sally out. Alright, yes, he will indeed sally. He does have a fair few units, tons and tons of biggins and blackworks and whatnot, but of course those shouldn't be all that concerning either to FEYADYIN or to the Lothern Skycutters. Just gotta make sure we don't get ripped apart by the enemy range, and target those with the spells first. Away we go. Alrighty, here we go, FEYADYIN and those Skycutters once again. We already know how devastating these things can be, and now we got those Celestial Lion escorts joining them, and the Hawk Riders as well. Hawk Riders gonna start it up with a few of those multi-shot arrows, specifically into the enemy range cav. Where are we here? Goblin Wolf Rider Archers, pretty much going to have to focus down the range as best as we can, at least with the Hawk Riders, though I think perhaps after a few general shots at the enemy we'll do a few other things. Anyway, while all that is happening, FEYADYIN is dropping spells. She got the Dwellers Below, she got the Flamestorm from the Sunfire Gem, and then of course the Fiery Convocation as well, leaving a bloody swath of destruction through, let's say, 5 or 6 of the enemy units here, and clipping a few more in addition to that. Looks like our Skycutters have sighted an enemy giant, which can do nothing about the archers or ballista bolts. Arrows or bolts, I suppose. And it looks like the damage is pretty darn decent, that considering this thing has 50% missile and 10% physical, all told. But once again, it's a fair few Skycutters. I definitely want to get a couple more of them as support units in a couple of other armies. Frankly, we could just do nothing but Skycutters in this army and it would be hilariously effective. Maybe put one, whatchamacallit, one Shadow Warrior with stock in the army so that they can't be spotted. And just as potential. Anyway, looks like the giant is down to about 20% HP. Of course, FEYADYIN continues flying around, dropping the occasional heal on those units and that get damaged by archers, and dropping the not-so-occasional damaging spell on the piles of orcs below. Giant is going down, see if he crushes a few orcs beneath his corpse. And by the looks of it, he did drop down on a few, though I don't know how effective the crushing was. It looks like the enemy have blobbed up again, and we are going to pop another Dwellers Below upon them. A couple of the units will attempt to make it on out of there, but that's alright. And while they're being slowed down by the Dwellers Below, the units, the Skycutters, continue to take shots down there. I wonder what they're just saying to each other while doing this, and while the enemy has very little recourse about what we're doing. Hey, Elfson, what do you think those things are down there? They look like dwarfs to me. Anyway, it looks like the enemies, well, the bounce power's at about 50%. A few of the enemies have peeled away from the enemy army and are heading towards our limited number of archers and spears, who have set up a pretty good, maybe not ambush, but are holding ground in a fairly nice place. A valley protected by the two impassable terrains on the side, and of course for the 4 archers ready to fire down there. There's another one here where we can send spears if needed, and then the spear there to protect the flanks, and though we'll see if it actually has any need. As the enemy doesn't really know what to do, I'm not entirely sure why it's milling around in the way that it is. I think that it can see those archer units, but it might not. Sometimes if you're hiding behind the hill, obviously, if the enemy has no line of sight towards your unit, or if you have no line of sight towards the enemy unit, then you can't see them. And then the AI doesn't know what to do. Sometimes it actually tries to actively search, but sometimes it doesn't, especially when your army's, let's say, 90% of your army's actual strength is concentrated around it, and it's in the air. And while the enemy tries to fire back, it's just not working out so well. We've tried to focus down the enemy's stone trolls, and fairly effectively, I might add here, going for another unit of trolls back here as well, with the piercing shots of the Hawk Riders, which are knocking the occasional trolls down. Perhaps I could have used the Hawk Riders to snipe the enemy lord and heroes as well, but I suppose ultimately it won't matter over much. Gotta remember that the Skycutters have a crazy amount of ammunition on them, which does make sense. I mean, they could probably float a fair few, well, probably float a fair few archer arrows up there. I don't know how they hold as many bolts as they do. But I suppose if you can make this massive chariot effectively weightless, you can probably fit in a lot of weightless ammunition up there as well. Anyway, what do we have here? Another savage giant, more orcs and gobos taking massive amounts of damage. Looks like we're nearly out of ammunition on the Hawk Riders. And how's FEYADYIN looking at this point? She's got 1,247 kills and 235,000 damage. Oh man, and she's most definitely not done yet. Oh, and would you look at that? It looks like enemy archers have moved towards our celestial lions rather than all of those archers and stuff, and they're gonna get a few shots off on them before the lions get annoyed and move towards them instead. Would be unfortunate not to have the lions do a little fighting, and now that the enemy have moved over here, might as well have them drop down and get those claws. They have bird feet or lion feet. I think they have... Alright, there we go, there we go. And obviously the Gobos are not going to have a great time here, but it does look like the enemy quickly moves in some units of Boar Boys in to reinforce. That said, if the enemy wants to blob up like this, we have two options before us. Either A, we drop spells upon them, or B, we move the Skycutters in to support and fire down at the enemies below. Once again, in terms of color scheme, I do think that the Celestial Lines really do work with the Skycutters quite nicely. And with the Hawk Riders to some degree, and soon with the War Lions and the Lion Chariots as well. Anyway, enemy continue to hold, the Lions continue to hold back the tide of Orcs. I'm sure that the impassable terrain on their left flank is helping as well, and they even have a little bit of elevation. And of course, while the enemy is held back like this, we get free shots with our piercing bolts right into the midst of those piles of enemy units. Once again, it's always too bad that the limitation on the outpost units of being at 4. I would have loved to get more Hawk Riders and more Celestial Lions in here. Alrighty, and how are the Lions doing, incidentally? We've got a teensy bit of damage on a couple of them, but you gotta remember that every time FEYADYIN casts, she does activate Life Bloom, and on top of that, whenever the Lions get a little bit of damage on them, we simply heal them both up, I should say, with an Earth Blood. And if something were to happen, we can just pop an emergency regrowth. Anyway, the snipers on top of those Skycutters are doing pretty well, but it looks like FEYADYIN is fed up with these guys living a little bit too long and starts to drop a few more spells. Now that we've allowed the Lions to play a little bit, Chain Lightning moves through the enemy ranks, and by the looks of it, clips quite a few of them. The balance power shifts to about, say, 70% in our favor, though at this point it looks like the Hawk Riders have actually run out of ammunition. We have been focusing down the enemy range units as well. Many of them have rallied here, but with very little HP remaining, and it looks like these two might be the last range units that are left on the field, and certainly there are not enough of them to cause any kind of real damage to us. Certainly not enough to be able to out-heal what FEYADYIN can do. Grimgor's still moving around. We're going to get a few shots off on him as well. He's got pretty decent resistances. Well, less than a giant, however. And it almost looks like the little goblin big boss is using Grimgor as a meat shield, just running around in his shadow so that he soaks up the damage, which is probably both a smart and a realistic move from a Gobbo. Can't fault him for trying it. And though how long it remains effective, we will have to see. We have already sniped one of the enemy heroes somewhere. And there's a couple more running around that we can snipe as well. Now, the two of the enemy range units do need to be destroyed, and I do decide to move the Skycutters down into melee just for this, and just so that they could get a little bit of melee action and apply that bleed effect of theirs. Otherwise, they would have spent the entire battle never having gotten into melee. Of course, the Hawk Riders would be much more effective at this in melee and would be killing these guys much faster, but the Hawk Riders are also chasing other enemy units around, so it's all good. Celestial Lines back up in the air now that we can have them attack somebody if we need it. It's hardly a necessity at this point, and now it's shooting orcs in a valley. Just like fish in a barrel, it's pretty darn easy here, as the enemy can do nothing. And if they should continue to blob up like this, that'll just be more opportunities for FEYADYIN to drop spells. Looks like we're going to target the Goblin Big Boss now. And speaking of spells, here comes yet another Dwellers Below. Gotta clear out those Gobbo meat shields so that we can kill off the big boss. There we go, nice fiery convocation through that out of the Dwellers Below. The Gobbos are clear, and we got free shots on the Goblin Big Boss, who quickly loses tons of HP and will shortly go down. And the textures are going crazy, probably because there's so much blood all over the place, and it looks like the enemy big boss will go down and the enemy army will shatter and give the battle to us. Does make sense, as there was no longer absolutely anything that they could do here. With the enemy range units all destroyed, they had no recourse whatsoever. Though even with the range units that they did have, there wasn't really much that they could do. And Grimgor with 224 HP. Well, let's see him go down just because we can. Maybe even leave the kill to FEYADYIN. For all the damage that the SKYCUTTERS did, I'm willing to bet FEYADYIN's going to have an insane kill count by the end of this. And there we go. Grimgor goes down. FEYADYIN untouched, and frankly, most of our units pretty much untouched. I'm not sure that we took any casualties. I think the Hawk Riders took a little bit of damage fighting something, but the single entities and the SKYCUTTERS were well kept in shape. Well, that was absolutely horrifying for the enemy there. 2.2 thousand kills and 325,000 damage on FEYADYIN by herself. That's pretty insane just by itself, but FEYADYIN has been getting those kind of numbers throughout the campaign, so it's more like par for the course for her. Also, the SKYCUTTERS, they are pretty darn obnoxious when the enemy doesn't have sufficient anti-air or aerial units of its own. About 300 to 400 kills on them, hovering around 350 or so, and about 50,000 damage for every single one of the units. Very, very nice work for all of them. Tons of kills, tons of damage, and, well, just solid work. The Hawk Riders, one of them, anyway, did nearly as well as the SKYCUTTERS did, and the other one was fairly close as well. These guys do have the advantage of being able to let all their arrows loose and then join into the melee and kill fairly quickly. They're fragile, but they are sort of glass cannoning. And we got a little bit of mileage out of the Celestial Alliance, who did land, hold off a few enemies, and allow us to gun them down a little bit better with the SKYCUTTERS. We didn't bother using the Spearmen or the High Elven Archers, A, because clearly we didn't need them, and B, they had a very nice position for themselves on the map, and they're not actually supposed to be part of this army. They were just transferred from J address and will be replaced by War Lions and Lion Chariots to go with the sort of lion to bird theme that we've got going with FEYADYIN. Anyway, all that aside, we got one loss which we could recover, but I guess we'll take the money instead. Sorry, one Hawk Rider that somehow managed to die, but them's the breaks. And oh, huh. Well, that's interesting. I'm wondering whether we should decline this and... If we decline this, Grom will most likely take Aquitaine, which we were looking to trade anyway, but this might be an opportunity to chase down Grom, because most likely he'll suck it and then run away. I will think about it. Either way, we are out of time and I'm going to have to call the episode here. Let's not embarrass the Greenskins any further this episode. So, next time, while I can't see the map, but, well, we continue to advance, going to try to send a few more armies up into the Empire to help out, as Itilna and Alistar the White Lion alone are not quite enough. Arathon and Tyrion should be able to retake Bretonnia with decent ease, and Alariel heading down to fight Ikit Claw should work out reasonably well. We will most likely eventually turn Imrik upon Khemri, and that's probably where he will end the campaign, as Khemri will most likely be the strongest remaining faction on the map relatively shortly. They do have a ton of armies down there after all, so Imrik can have some fun with them, but once he has his Star Dragons and his Dragon Princes, which we are well on the way to building. Anyway, more elves to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.